Well, I was, at the time we started SIOPE, I was already 1 year at ECCO. And ECCO was working very well, and the leadership of SIOPE at the time was quite impressed, I believe, by the success that ECCO was meeting. And they came to me and asked my advice by saying, we have now enough budget, enough reserves, financial reserves, to open our office. So could you, please, Michel, help us to hire one person? And I said, yes, fine, of course, I can help you. Just tell me what is that person supposed to do? And then they started enumerating the different things that the person should be in charge of, and that was not stopping and stopping. And then at a certain moment, I stopped them and I said, listen, that does not exist, somebody like that. There's so many competencies, different competencies that you need, that it does not exist in one person. And what I proposed at the time is to apply the previous experience I had in my professional life, which is called association management. That means that you share staff in between several associations so that you have a wider experience or experienced staff and a wider expertise at hand, and you pay by units of full-time equivalent. And they needed to have somebody with a scientific background in order to assume the mission of SIOPE and to understand what SIOPE is made for. They needed to have somebody with some experience in public affairs to do some lobbying at the EU level. They needed, of course, somebody to handle their finance. So my proposal has been to hire or to use existing staff at ECCO, 50% of a person who was already working on our program, on our scientific program for the conferences that we organize. That was the scientific background. Then we hired a young lady who was starting a career in public affairs and wanted to be in Brussels to be developing her experience. And she took 50% of her time for SIOPE and 50% for ECCO, where we also had the need of such a person. And then our existing finance manager has been then dedicated to SIOPE for about 10% of the time, taking in charge the bookkeeping of SIOPE. And we added also 10% of our office manager to take care of the office itself, and also coordinating IT, because that's the role that person has within ECCO. And so we came up to a 120% of a full-time equivalent, so 1.2 full-time equivalent, which was about the price that they wanted to give for one person. And SIOPE, of course, SIOPE is founding member of ECCO, and if I suggested that, it was in agreement with the board, I did ask to the board, do you authorize me to give services to our members? And of course they accepted by saying, okay, but you shouldn't do that outside of our group of members. It should be, if there are other requests like that, it should be exclusively reserved for the members. Because of course ECCO, as a non-for-profit organization, doesn't do that to make profit, but does that to help. And why helping? Well, I must say there's a little bit of my personal motivation also. I believe that SIOPE is a fantastic organization with such a high, noble level of mission. Cancer is, of course, in itself a dramatic cause and very valid to work for and to fight for. But cancer associated to children, of course, is really important, and there is that emotional side that is due to the fact that we're speaking about children. And I've been shocked, really shocked at the beginning when I understood what SIOPE was doing, that there's no pharmaceutical industry supporting the efforts of SIOPE. And why? Because there's no market. And that really shocked me. And that really convinced me that I had to that I had to do everything I could to help SIOPE to exist, to grow and develop and be efficient in their mission. Blossom, that's the word I would say. The staff sharing their time in between ECCO and SIOPE, those are really fantastic people. They're very committed, they're very they have developed their expertise, this understanding of SIOPE and their expertise. They have helped the board to define ambitions, realistic ambitions, of course, because the board has always ambitions, but they're sometimes not realistic. So, and to achieve, to really achieve. So I really think that this has been the format that helped SIOPE to grow, to develop, to be credible within the community of pediatricians, but to be credible also within what we call the onco community, meaning among those other societies, other professions, some of them being very big. The SIOPE, the little SIOPE was some kind of not existing, even though it was a founding member, but it was only a member on paper, I could say. So it helped really to establish the credibility. And I think the staff, as I said, does a fantastic job and has put SIOPE on the map of oncology.